And then they're like, where's home? And then I pointed to the sky.
I know, obviously, generally there's a misconception that funds just keep coming in.
My main goal here in Vividwalks is to do Netflix-style documentaries for walking tours.
Welcome to Where She Builds,
the podcast where two globetrotting solopreneurs share the real journey of building a life and business on the move.
I'm Shandy, an online personal trainer helping people feel strong anywhere in the world.
And I'm Anna, creator of Your Travel Friend Anna, a global community and go-to resource for those wanting to live a fulfilling and culturally curious life.
Thanks for being here.
Let's dive into this week's episode. Welcome back, everyone, to the Where She Builds podcast. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Shandy. Good morning, Shandy.
Good afternoon, Anna, and welcome to our episode number 4 already.
That is so crazy that when this releases, we'll have 4 episodes out for the world to listen to.
Woo. Look at us go. 4 episodes.
I'm so proud of us. Just before we started and we pressed record, Shandy has something to tell you. There's a new dictionary in town. What is it?
Yes, it is. We call it the Anna-isms, and she has a whole bunch of different sayings that are very clean, very nice, very appropriate, and one of them is cuckoo pants.
I think I like you said we. I didn't co-sign on this. You created it, but it's funny to be called out for things you don't notice. And I think it comes from I used to run a dance studio for kids. So like I would get frustrated or like something would happen and I didn't want to create a swearing atmosphere. So like cuckoo pants, I mean, they know what I'm trying to say anyway, but.
What did you have? Was it yesterday? We were talking the other day. You said something and I was like, oh, there it is. So I'm going to have to start writing these down.
Fudgesicle. That's
yes.
Another one.
Or
there's a pickle. Like I use pickle as there's something that's stuck in the middle.
Yeah. I think you said something about a pickle. And I was like, what? I had to think about what you were talking about.
Yeah. Or I swear in German. Which I don't want to. I don't want to select the explicit content on the back end, so I'm not going to say it.
I was just thinking, is it a Canadianism or is it an Anna-ism? But I think it's more towards the Anna-ism, maybe.
I don't know. I think it's an Anna-ism. I think it's just my quirkiness, and which also quirky is a word that many English second, third, fourth language speakers don't know, and I think it is a great describing word.
Really? I thought that was just
tonight ask Pat if he knows the word quirky. Do you think he does?
Maybe not. I'm not sure. He sometimes surprises me about things that he knows, like words wise. And maybe it's just because I say them a lot of the times, but I'm going to have to ask him because I don't know. In my mind, I think quirky is just regular, but maybe it's not.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you never question his English. Like you're just talking normal to him. And I feel like the people who I'm like, I never have to slow my English down. It's like I'm using every vocabulary I want to, every like describing word. And then I bring out quirky and they're like, what? Maybe because it's a Q word?
Maybe. Yeah. But that's 100% true though. That I don't know if you have that because you're also learning Portuguese, right? That if somebody's speaking, but if somebody's speaking Portuguese to you, do you ever have it that you have to tell them to slow down because they're going too quickly?
Oh, we're not even there yet.
Okay.
We are, but yes. And I'm definitely at the, you need to say it in simple, proper, formal, because there is so many slang and ways to rephrase. And I'm like, I don't even know the basic sentence structure yet. So when I go to Brazil, I'll let you know.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly, I remember one of the first times I came to the Netherlands and I was learning Dutch at the time. And I was thinking, you know how, I don't know if you know, but there's that learning curve that they have where it's like you're a beginner and you know that you don't know that much. And then you're still a beginner and you think you know everything. And then it kind of falls. I don't know what it's called. We'll have to maybe look it up later. But anyways, I was at the part where I was a very much beginner, but I felt like I knew everything. And then I went in and started listening to the Dutch radio. And I was thinking, this is not even, I don't know what they're talking about. I can't pick out one single word. It all just sounded like gibberish. It all just came together and I had no idea. I was like, okay, maybe I don't know the language at all.
I think because the beginner to you think you know it all is like you're in situations at a restaurant, at a market, food related, bus station related, where you're not doing the translation in your head anymore. And then you get into a topic you don't know anything about, or or the speed, and you're trying to translate again, but it's too fast. So I'm still very much in the translation, very, very much. And I'm only doing Duolingo right now, which most language learners would be like, that's not real language learning. But
Honestly,
it's slowly.
I found Duolingo very helpful when I was learning Dutch. I think it was just because you're dedicated to doing it. I just want to keep the streak. And so I was very dedicated to doing it every single day, even if it was just one lesson. And I think that helped a lot, to be honest. And everybody I talked to was like, oh, you're just doing Duolingo. But I'm like, yeah, but then you also, I think, get more confident in speaking wise because they have speaking exercises and they have different things. So I think it really helped my confidence a lot when I was speaking Dutch for the first times, anyways.
And what's your streak at right now, Shandy? Because
Should I look it up?
you should look it up. You should look it up. I think mine just passed 900 days, and I was so proud of myself. And then Shandy showed me hers.
Oh, I have 1,786 days.
I thought it was at 1,200 in my head. 1,700 day streak.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's just one lesson a day, but I do think it's really helpful to keep sticking with it. And then sometimes it's a little bit of a bad habit, because then you're, at 11:59 in the evening, like, I just want to go to sleep, and you're like, no, I didn't do my Duolingo. And then you have to rush and do a quick, simple one, and then it's just stress. So maybe not the best time sometimes, but
I'm always doing mine right before bed, and I don't think it's that I'm gamifying it right now. I got to be honest. And I think if you actually were patient with it and did a lesson and really tried to pronounce and like absorb what the sentence is, because I took a couple lessons and my instructor was like, how do you know that already? We haven't covered that. And I said, well, Duolingo's covered it, but it was connecting the pieces of the grammar together. But to be honest, English was my worst subject in school, so I don't even know grammar in English. So then they're like, well, that's just what an adverb is in Portuguese. Well, what's an adverb in English?
Honestly, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I'm so passionate about this. Being or coming from, how do you say, a unilingual area of like solo, I don't know. I spoke one language growing up, right? And everybody says, oh, you come from Canada, you should speak French and English. No, I just spoke English. And then in English class, yeah, okay, maybe we learned about adverbs, adjectives, things like that, but that's just kind of the basis. And then they started bringing out all these different things. And then I was learning Spanish for a couple of weeks when we were in Mexico. And then they started bringing out a whole bunch of different words, like different, I can't even think of them right off the top of my head, but parts of languages. And they're like, well, this is this in English. And I'm like, I don't know what that is in English. I don't remember learning this in English. And then Pat, of course, knew it because he learned German and English and Dutch and whatever else in school. So I think coming from only learning one language, I felt so dumb being like, I know English, but I don't know things in English. I can't explain to you why it is the way it is in English. I can just tell you this sounds right, but that's my limit. I can't explain things to you. So then learning a new language, and exactly what you just said, no thanks. Can't do
Friends
it.
I meet traveling, they think that any native English speaker will solve all their English issues. And I just want to preface, I am so privileged that this is the language I speak and everyone speaks it. Like, that never like jumps out of my mind when I meet people. But one time a Brazilian Portuguese speaker was like, I don't understand it. He dances, she dances, we dance. Why isn't dances plural still? And I went, good question.
Because it doesn't sound right. I don't know.
That is a great question that you need to ask a professional. I don't know. It just is.
Yeah. But it really, I think this is one thing that traveling really opened my eyes up to, because coming from a very small town, you just expect that everybody in the world speaks English. That's just something in my head that I had, that like, oh, anybody that speaks a different language. And then sometimes we had people come into town that were, let's say, English as a second language. And then you just think, coming from that small town mindset, when I was thinking about it, it was just thinking like, oh, you don't speak very great English, so, and then you kind of fill in the blanks yourself. But now I have this totally different perspective that they speak their own language and then they also speak English, and then they can have a conversation with me in English. And I'm looking at them like, I cannot believe that you are able to put your thoughts into a separate language, put it out in the way that I can understand what you're talking about. Like, it's incredible to me what people can do. And I just have a whole new respect for people that speak different languages. It's insane.
Oh, being at a co-working anywhere international and the one person is working in another language, emails, Slack,
Wild.
Teams chat, and then you're like, hey, what do you want for lunch? And they just whoop, reply, and then they're back doing strategic deep thinking in their own. I'm like, what? They're all, any friends listening that are bilingual or more, you are a freaking superhero.
Really,
Someone from
really.
another channel. There's one thing I want to bring back from our last Chitty Chat update. I think we're gonna have to
Yes.
name this like prequel to when we do our episodes.
Yeah.
I think Chitty Chat update is cute though.
I like it. Let's put the TM on it.
So in our last Chitty Chat update, we were talking about crepes versus panakook. Am I saying it right? Panakook?
Panakuka. Yeah, panakukan.
Panakuka. Panakuka. I
Yeah.
know it's a panakukin house, so grammar, getting it again. Anyway. Because Shani thinks crepes and panakuka are the same thing. And I wonder if your opinion has changed or you've reflected on what we talked about last week.
I've reflected on it. I will still die on this hill. I think they're the same thing. I did Google it, and essentially panakuka are just bigger ones, and they're meant for more savory things. You can also put sweet things in them, and then crepes are thinner. But nonetheless, if I look at them, I will still say that they're the same thing.
Okay, so I went to the highest of highest resources, my mother. I said, Mom, what's the difference between panakuka and crepes? And she said crepes are generally smaller and thinner. So I also wasn't thinking about diameter, but they're generally smaller because they're meant to be a lighter thing. You maybe have them in like lunchtime. And a panakuk needs to be bigger and thicker, which I did talk about the thickness last time, so that it can, again, have that savory like ham and cheese. So, but we were wondering if eggs were in one recipe versus other, and they're quite similar recipe. I think it's thickness, like the density of the. Also, density is another word people don't know. But anyway, random. You have to ask
Also,
quirky and density. Those are the two words that we're going to carry to next episode. We need to ask if Pat knows them.
yeah. This came into my mind. We were talking about because I studied physics when I was in university, and there is a difference between speed and velocity. But in Dutch, there's not a separate word for them.
Oh,
I think it's just snelheid. And then I was talking with Pat about this, and I was like, "How do you know the difference between speed and velocity?" He's like, "I think we just use the English words for it when they're talking about like in physics or in wherever else they're studying it." And I was like, "That's wild that you don't have a separate word for it, because usually Dutch has a lot more words for a lot more things. Like I think they have 10 plus different words for the carrot."
wow.
Yeah,
Weird.
really weird.
That's
a whole new story.
I know that in German, I mean, like many languages, like when I'm learning Portuguese right now, like fasta fuji, it just means like it's written fast food. Like they haven't created, even though food is comida, they haven't changed. They haven't created a fast food. They just say it with a Portuguese accent, a Brazilian accent. I'm not even doing the accent properly, but it's like fasta fuji, tikataki. It's so funny. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's words are crazy. It's very interesting. Anything else that's been going on this week, Miss Shandy, that we should know about?
Honestly, I think your preparation for your trip is a lot more exciting. I've just been working around putting in the hours, but I want to hear about your trip. Actually, I was asking you a little bit about it before, but please tell us more.
Yeah, I'm going on a 2-month road trip, but I don't know if that's actually accurate. I am driving, so my mode of transportation is my car, and I will be house hopping for 2 months, which any of my hosts, thank you so much ahead of time for having me. I am visiting my sister, some old family friends. I used to live in Vancouver for 10 years, so there's so many like acquaintances I want to like reconnect with, and it's all prompted. My old roommate from Vancouver is getting celebratorily married. That's not a word. She's legally married already. We are doing the party.
Nice.
She did like a approved soft elopement. How can I say it? So family was there, but it was very last minute. By choice, they wanted to do that. So this is like the friend's wedding, which I'm so excited for. And so, yeah, I just built kind of a trip around that. Canadian summers are amazing. They are so beautiful and warm, and I'm going to be spending most of my July near a lake. So I'd rather be near a lake than near Cowboys at the Calgary Stampede. Sorry, everyone who loves Stampede. My budget does not allow it. But I'm feeling overwhelmed for sure. Yeah, I feel like I'm pushing a lot of projects before I go. I've been working on some more merch for your travel friends. So some hoodies have been ordered for sampling, which I'm excited for.
I can't wait to see those.
On the next, maybe actually by the next update we chat, I should have the orders if they come on time so I can show them on our YouTube video.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to see them. Yeah.
Model it. You should. Yeah, and I'm just actually something that pertains to this road trip or like prep in general. I listen to a lot of podcasts as well right now because I'm driving so much being home. And one concept that came up was social jet lag. Have you ever heard of this?
I think I've heard you mention it before, but explain it, please.
Hopefully I'll explain it as well as this sleep researcher did. But it basically means like if you are going, I'll use a Canadian analogy. If you're going from Vancouver to Toronto, wow, I said it in a very non-Canadian way.
Yeah, Toronto.
Toronto. If you're going from Vancouver to Toronto, it's a 3-hour time difference. And so, you know, there's a natural shift in maybe some of your meal times and how you're waking up, how you're falling asleep. Not too crazy, 3 hours. But they were saying social jet lag is the same concept as if you are going to bed 3 hours later and waking up 3 hours later in different days, you are basically putting jet lag on yourself. And she was mentioning that it is more important to have consistent sleep versus the hours. Like the hours are important, but consistency is as equally important. So if you're only getting 5 to 6, but like you're staying consistent with your wake up or bedtime, then you are not making your body shift because you partied too late and now your lunch is late on a Saturday. And then coming back into Monday, when you try and shift your lunch to be back at 12 p.m., then Canadian time, not Spanish time lunch. I don't know if that's making sense. Am I making sense?
I think so. So it's about more, let's say, like keeping your consistency instead of shifting the time to match there. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and just looking at your lifestyle when you're not actually traveling. So when you're stationary somewhere and looking at your lifestyle, and if you want to get better sleep or you want to like commit to a better sleep situation, it's about going to bed at the same time, which we've heard forever. But I thought that concept of social jet lag was great. So if you party till like 2-3 a.m. on a Friday night, and then you're waking yourself up and your meal times are changed and like, you know, your day is completely shifted 3 to 4 hours as if you traveled, then when you come back to your Monday, if you have a stationary Monday or you want to come back to a certain routine, it's going to be like you traveled somewhere on the weekend, but you actually just were social and have social jet lag.
I like it. I think that's really interesting that it's a good way to put, let's say, an idea that we all experience into a term. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. So if someone's like, why aren't you going to party this weekend, Anna? I'll be like, I don't want social jet lag. We're not a party pooper anymore. We're not like grandmas, but it's just like, I don't want social jet lag. And I think we should use this term more.
Absolutely. Because it also affects your whole week then as well, right? I have that if I party on the weekend or something, or if I go out late the next day or 2 days later, I am a bag. I cannot.
Yeah. It's as if you traveled somewhere, right? Like as if you have this 3 to 4 and you're like trying to adjust, you're trying to rehydrate, you're trying to find your meal times again. Should I eat a full meal? Should I eat a snack? Normally I'd have lunch by now. Yeah. This interesting concept. Anyway.
Wild. I love it.
That's our chitty chat. We are going to jump into our first ever interview on the Where She Builds podcast, which this individual I know will listen to this chitty chat and better feel very special that they were the first. Also, the sunlight. If you're watching on YouTube, I have some angelic sun coming into my eyes right now. It's hard. I have to dodge it. Are you excited for this interview, Shandy?
I am so excited for everybody to listen to this. It's going to be such an insightful and also really interesting chat, and I can't wait for everybody to hear it.
All right, let's get into it. All right, we are excited to welcome today's guest. He's the founder of Vividwalks, an augmented reality app currently offering immersive experiences in Rome to bring history from 2,000 years ago to life. He's also working remotely as a developer and finds himself exploring digital nomad life part-time when he isn't in his base of London in the UK. Welcome, Lasheen, to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's been a long time coming on. You've been planning this for a while, so yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a long time, and it's been a long time since us three have been together. So it's feels a little like it's always meant to be, maybe in a way. Do share with us and our listeners where you're joining us from, since you are a digital nomad and you're traveling. We want to know where in the world you are. I'm in Canada.
I'm in the Netherlands.
And I'm in Barcelona. I just got here 3 weeks ago, and I'm leaving to the UK again tomorrow. It's just a crazy travel thing, but I'll be back in Barcelona in 20 days. So yeah.
Wow.
Nice, nice. So Lasheen is joining us from Spain, and probably the weather is warming up there this time of year as we record. It's getting hot.
Yeah, it's getting hot, and there's no air condition here, so
Nice.
nice. Yeah.
Is that why you're leaving?
Yeah, I need some like cold weather and just really shitty weather. That's why I'm going to the it's been
Some
too
rain.
good here. Some rain, yeah, would be good.
Most people think of the UK as like the worst gross weather, but it might be this nice relief, as Shani just said, to actually be like, oh, it's just nice and cool and
Yeah.
damp,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you can go back to the heat and appreciate it again. Okay, so we'd like to start actually by sharing where both Shani and I got to meet you as digital nomads, because I think it's very interesting that this podcast came about. And in our first episode, Shani and I talked about our like meeting story, our serendipitous story. But you were there to mostly witness it. So Shani maybe can explain a little bit, and Lasheen, you can explain your side of things of how you ended up at that place at the same time as well.
Yeah. So obviously, like Anna said, the three of us met at the Montenegro conference, and that was quite a fun thing. Like Anna and I were both speakers, and then I think Lasheen, we went out for dinner or something together afterwards. Correct me if I'm wrong. But then that was kind of like the thing where the three of us got to know each other a little bit more, and it was just kind of like a fun, like, oh, you're a digital nomad, oh, I'm also one, and I think we really bonded over that. And then yeah, it was a really great time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with Pat and Frick as well, like it was just like a nice group that we had going, and yeah, it just seemed fun, like meeting all you guys. And I think that was my first. Yeah, that was probably my first time meeting a lot of digital nomads. That was my first time. Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of great, and conference was exciting, and yeah, met new people.
I felt like
so.
we were the Trace Amigos, but we were five, so the Teensy Amigos gangs. So it was such a fun group because, yeah, you knew Freek, who's our Dutch friend, and Shani's partner is Dutch, so then they had a connection, and then we had a connection, and then you knew Freek. It was just this fun, like us five together, and it was so great to meet you, and we've remained friends since then, which is so fun. And here we are. It's a year and a half later, which is also crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So it feels like yesterday in a way, but a life has happened since then. We want to jump in like who you are as a traveler. So what prompted you to explore digital nomad life? If you have like this one moment in the history of your life or a thought that was like, I want to explore this. I want to get out of the UK. I want to explore somewhere new, and what that first place may have been to start this digital nomad life.
Yeah, sure. So I think I've been on like trips. I haven't really been before this time. Like I hadn't really been on like lads trips. I've been with a trip with my friend and then family trips prior to that. But always when I was on holiday, I would always just like get too like antsy and just feel like I want to get away and just be on my own. I'd always feel that, and no matter who I went with, right? And then I'll find some way just to sneak off or do something myself. Whether it's like, oh, just make some weird plans that like I know you're not gonna want to do, so then I'd sneak off. So yeah, and I really enjoyed that part. It's also like a challenge, right? It's like, I don't know, like you just go on holiday with your family and you're always with them, but it's like, oh, I can do this thing on my own, like an independence thing, right? So yeah, I enjoyed doing that, and then after that, I decided I wanted to do my first solo trip, and that was to Bosnia and Mostar. Reason why I picked Monster was it's just, I mean, I was kind of fed up as well with the UK. just the life wasn't as exciting as I wanted it to be. Rent prices, also cost of living, like super a lot. So yeah, so I decided to pick Mostar because it's a Muslim country, and then I can get in touch with like my Muslim side and all this, and it would probably be a nice holiday. So I did a 10-day trip, and I went and adventured, and yeah, it was, yeah. Since then, it was just like a flick of a switch. Like I just went, okay, well, as soon as I went there, I think maybe about like 4 or 5 days in, I was like, I'm gonna come and live here. But at the time, I had a job, right? So
The classic nomad. You go somewhere, you're like, I could live here, right?
yeah.
Exactly.
But you don't
And
get that feeling unless you, sorry, you don't get that feeling unless you go alone. That's the thing.
I do agree with that because I think you're not distracted in conversation with other people. So as much as I love meeting people, and in the last episode or my interview episode, I talked about this, like this feeling of like a spark of meeting people, like meeting you both. But when you're alone, you just your senses are fully activated, and everything is like based on what you do and what you see and what you absorb and how you make moves. So you get such a different experience than even being with one friend or a group of people. So, and we've both been to Mostar and Bosnia and Herzegovina, and it's just such a beautiful city in this valley area. I would not want to go in summertime because I hear they get up to around 45 degrees Celsius, which is crazy.
It's a bit too spicy.
Too spicy. Spring and
Too
fall. I would
spicy.
probably contemplate jumping off that Mostar Bridge if it was that hot. And I don't like heights, so I'm kidding. I would never. But yeah, it's exciting. And when you went to Mostar, was just a 10-day trip, and then you returned to the UK. Is that right?
No, so it was it's such an interesting journey because I booked it through, I think, Lufthansa, so I had to connect through Poland to get there. Yeah, it was Poland to go. I think it was Warsaw, and it was like a 35-minute layover. And when I booked the ticket, I was like, this is great. Like, I'm not even gonna have to wait or anything. I did not understand how planes worked. And then as the plane is landing, I'm like, shoot, it's gonna take at least 25 minutes for everyone to just get off the plane anyway. And then we were delayed, and I was just stressing. I'd never been. Then I'm searching on my phone, like, what the hell do I do?
No.
And then I got off the plane, and then it's just like, well, first of all, I've transferred before, but I've never done it on my own. So I think I went through a wrong bit, or like even if I went through a transfer, I had to get my passport checked. Massive queues. It was summer. So then I'm just looking at the thing, and it's like, oh, boarding. And it's like, and
Oh
then it's
no.
like going to like last call. And then, yeah, and then I get there, and they're like, nah, it's like gone. Like, so then,
Oh no.
so then I had to queue up for like 2 hours. People were also stressing out. There's all these like commotion. You're one of those people who are like stuck at the airport, right?
Oh,
And then, yeah, but luckily they sorted me out, gave me a free ticket back to like go to Bosnia, and then like free like hotel with a taxi ride free and some like
Wow.
food allowance. So I was like, okay, I'll just go see Warsaw then. That's fine.
I think I knew you went to Warsaw, but I don't think I've ever heard this full story. And is it because from Poland to Mostar was also Lufthansa? So it was kind of
Yes, it was the
Lufthansa's
same
fault?
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, so
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's like one little travel tip when you're doing a multi-city destination flying. And if it's the same airline, they can kind of blame each other and they'll compensate you. But if you had flown, let's say Ryanair from Poland to Mostar, they don't care. It's your
No.
fault you're
Yeah,
late.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's just like what is the perfect layover time? Since you've learned that lesson, what would you say is the perfect, like the shortest layover you would ever do, knowing you have to get your passport stamped or go through some kind of Schengen border or country border?
I mean, the right answer is obviously like 2 hours, but I'm not going to pick that. Like, let me do 1 hour. Let me run through the airport. It's fine.
She doesn't like to run unless it's in an airport.
That's the only acceptable time to run.
Yeah, it's happened a few times.
That's so tight. I would do too. Shandy would like
That's
100% to 100% of the time. If I have anything less than 2 hours, I am like in a cold sweat on the plane. I'm like, I can't do this.
unless it was an airport I knew very well and I knew the size. Like I could maybe do Vancouver airport less than 2, but if it's Vancouver's probably an international flight that's in Canada, and so no, 2 minimum, because I want to get a snack, I want to use the bathroom, refill my water bottle. Like, why make it so stressful?
I not have to run.
Yes,
Yeah,
I don't
I
want to
mean-
sweat.
it's exhilarating anyway. It's part of travel. Huh?
It's part of the thrill.
Yeah.
Oh my
And then you're like,
gosh.
oh, my luggage is going to go there. Are they not? Like, it's a whole issue. So,
Do
Yeah,
you usually
definitely.
travel with luggage when you're traveling?
yeah, Anna knows I just take my whole life.
Yeah.
Something like big suitcase, small suitcase, backpack, everything.
Really?
I
So,
So you
think
just
yeah.
pack up your apartment and take it with you?
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous, to be
when you
honest.
went for that 10-day trip, though, do you remember how much luggage you had with you?
Oh, I think I just had the carry on and then the backpack, I think.
Yeah. So I think it's so different with a longer term stay because you want to feel comfortable, you want to make the space your own. So when you say you have everything with you, I think that's accurate to right now where you know you're staying in a place for a bit longer. But I think you've done just carry on before as well for 6 weeks when you
No.
went to Italy.
No, I took my massive suitcase. Yeah, I took a massive suitcase. Yeah.
Never
There's
mind.
no way. Yeah.
How many clothes do you have? Like,
Oh, a lot. And then it's like even like when I came from I just came from Montenegro to I had a transit and I was flying with a friend I met in Montenegro. I had so much tech because also I'm a developer as well. So it's like I had like 2 laptops, an iPad, 5 phones, just
Whoa.
like camera. It's just, I mean, it's a bit ridiculous. So I need
Shandy
the
and I's
space.
eyes just like our
Like,
eyebrows went up. Why do you have 5 phones?
it's like the two
Shane?
laptops with the 5 iPhones. Yeah, 5 phones. Tell us about that.
Maybe I think
It's a bit of
I
illegal
know.
activity.
No, it's not. I think we'll get into why, and it's part of your like part of your business, and you're developing, and you better clarify that in a little bit. But
Okay.
we'll
But
stay on
before
the
we get
travel. Yeah.
yeah,
We're
before we get
stressing
into
now.
that,
I gotta fan myself. The
I need to know why you have 5 phones.
Jeez.
But before we get into that, you were finding yourself traveling for months at a time later on, right? And then, but now you're kind of going back as the UK is your base. What's the reason that, like, what keeps drawing you back to going back to the UK?
I'm just going to be plain and simple money. I mean, family's there as well, of course, and friends, but like just whatever pays my bills at the moment is a job in the UK as a freelancer. So I just have to go back once every 2 months, something like that, which I do. But yeah, that's the main reason I go back. And then other than that, I can see my family as well. So it's great. But ideally, I would like to set up base in a Schengen country or like in an actual country and live there for more than 6 months a year. So
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
Cool.
we could get all into that, but we'll
yeah.
stay on topic here. But that makes sense. I think for a lot of people, it is money. It's definitely a comfort of home. It's kind of just this place where if you need to go to the dentist or you just know where things are. I think Shandy and I can relate to that coming back to Canada. Like you don't have to Google every single thing or like where a pharmacy is or where
Or
to
try to speak a
buy
different language doing it.
different language, or you just like you're like I just want one more white t-shirt, and you just know the shop that you like a white t-shirt at, and it's so simple. So when you go back to the UK, and if you have no future travel plans, what helps you take that leap to like begin the travel period again and to say, okay, I am going to live and explore this digital nomad lifestyle after you've been sedentary in the country for a little bit of time?
I think like always it's just been a case of my freedom. So when I go back to the UK, there's a period of time I went back and I had to get a job which was 5 days in the office, so I couldn't travel. And then also as well, I went back to the UK before that just to save some money whilst I build my business. So those are some of the reasons. But as soon as I get comfortable and I'm like financially okay, and I have some what's it called, location freedom, then I just leave straight away. To be honest, it's there's no true calling in the UK because, like for instance, I would stay with my parents when I go back, just because I don't want to go and spend like I don't know £2,000 in rent to live on my own in
That's
London,
crazy.
and
Is
you
that
would
how
have
much it is?
you can get a £1,600 will get you a really bad 1 bedroom on your own.
Whoa.
In proper London,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
actual
but
city
like,
of London.
yeah, because like, I mean, you're not. There's no other place you would want to live. Let's say, unless you go. I mean, Manchester is probably good. Manchester, like that's a nice place, but I'm more London based, so yeah, I'd have to spend like 2 grand on my own. But most people share, so they just get a place with like 5 other people or whatever.
I feel like it's much more common there that they have the kind of, I mean, Canada, we'd call it a townhouse. It's definitely not. It's a full house, but the ones that are the classic British style, they're attached homes. I feel like most people I've known who have lived in London for a short period of time or long period of time, they're always doing house shares or they've got like at least 3 roommates. I've known people to live up to 10 people. It was a
Whoa.
group of
Yeah.
couples though. Yeah. So I think they had 7 bedrooms, but a few of them were couples. But
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a beautiful big kitchen. Like the common spaces are so large, then it's great. But you're still sharing one kitchen with that many people and everyone's different schedules and stuff. So,
That's
yeah,
wild.
money is maybe you make some money and then you're like, okay, I'm not going to spend it here. So that gets you going
Yeah,
out again.
exactly. Yeah. Just funny story on the 7 living with 10 people. During COVID, we managed, me and my friends, as crazy friends, we managed to find a place near King's Cross. Like you leave the house and you're about 2 minutes walks from King's Cross station, and we found it and it had 10 rooms in there, and we were like, why don't we just get this and then we're just going to Airbnb it? But there was such a problem with the whole thing, and then we're just like, no, we can't do it. But it was super cheap because it was COVID.
uh,
Oh,
was
Yeah,
it
yeah.
nice? Did you ever look at it?
Oh, there was damp like in places, but
Bleh.
you can just gloss over that.
Where I grew up, it's very dry. So the dampness in homes is just like, bleh. It's something I always
Really?
have to get used to every place I go where it's damp, that's just a normal smell.
yeah.
It's not to me, but it is a normal smell.
So, Lasheen, you're the founder of an AR, which is an augmented reality app, and it brings Rome's rich history to life. So, what prompted you to begin building something like that?
Yeah. So I think this was when I was traveling. Well, okay, this was after I did after the 10-day trip I did in Mostar. I actually went to live in Mostar afterwards, and then I drove my car around Europe and took it from the UK to Bosnia. Fun experience. Would recommend it to anyone.
Would not
Just
recommend it to
drive.
anyone
No,
anyway.
yeah.
Lasheen and I argue about this all the time because I think it's ridiculous. Because I did 14 months with no car in Europe, so it is possible without.
It is
Each their
possible. It's
own.
just fun, yeah.
Each
Yeah.
their
So
own.
that was when I did a lot of walking tours, and then in Croatia, Split, which is like 2 hours from Mostar, they have a Diocletian's Palace. So it's a Roman ancient ruin, but it's integrated within Split. So it's actually a palace, but you can't actually notice as a palace because a lot of the places are taken up with they've built homes, restaurants, all these kind of things, Airbnbs, right? So I'd go on walking. I think I went on a walking tour, the first one, right? And maybe I was tired. I don't know, but I went on it and I just was like, I couldn't focus. And she was explaining, oh, like these people used to come here, like this used to be look like this, and I just could not like connect with
Visualize
whatever she
it.
was visualize it, and I wasn't even engaged, right? So I was like, okay, maybe it's a me problem. So then I actually went. I've never done like 2 walking tours in the same city because I was like, there's something I must be missing here, right? So I did a second one, and I was like, still, there's nothing really there that's like connecting with me because you can't see how grand it used to be. It just looks like apartments all over the place. So yeah, that was when I just came up with the idea. I was like, okay, cool. Like I would like to visualize what it used to look like through some kind of augmented reality glasses or something like that. So I did some research, and then AR glasses are not a thing, but I found a way you can do it on mobile, right? So I was like, everyone has a phone, everyone takes their phone on holiday. So it's just an added layer to the experience of taking a walking tour. So that's where the idea came about. Yeah.
It's super
That's
cool.
so
I think
cool.
you're talking
Yeah.
to two non-developer techie people that way. So we're like, like boots on the ground. Is it something, this type of app, was it a challenge to learn the code? Is that the right word for this? Or like
Yeah.
learn how to develop it? Or it's something that was addressed in school at the time? Or it's like, it's been a whole new learning curve?
No, I think with coding, it's generally because I code for my job. It doesn't really, I can pick up any other language of code. You just need to know the syntax or how to write it. But I think it's transferable skills. It may be the same. Like if you're really good at learning languages, and you go and decide, I'm going to pick, if you can speak like 5 or 6 and you go, I'm going to pick my 7th language, you already have like a format of how you can learn it quicker, and you know what words you need more than others, so you can focus on the right things to learn. So yeah, it's very transferable. So it was hard, but I just managed to get down and do it. On like when I moved to Montenegro and I just stopped my career, I was like, I'm going to focus on this for the next year, and then yeah,
Wow.
I got somewhere with it. So yeah.
And
Wow.
what coding languages do you know? The only one I can think of is Python, because that's one that
Yeah,
has
yeah.
like a cool name.
Yeah.
Just so our
So
listeners, some other people might be like curious what you know, but I don't know what they're called.
yeah. So I think I actually did a computer science degree in university, and I hated it. It was, we did 15 different languages. Everything was very like small, like to 50, a lot, but not like in depth, right? So I think I was overwhelmed. And then after uni, I did Python, right? So and I was like, as soon as I did Python, it just like the penny dropped. I was like, this is what coding's like. And I just did fun projects and stuff like that. But in terms of language, how many? Uh, I mean, like, I don't know, 6. Well, probably more than that, 8
How
plus
many are you
maybe.
fluent in? Is that the right
Uh,
word?
I mean, is fluency checking, asking Google how to do things? Because I mean, code is just Google, really. But I'd say
I don't know.
I'm good at maybe like 4, let's say 4 or 5.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
That sounds, if I compare it to your knowledge of languages, doing pretty well.
Really impressive. Yeah.
yeah. Maybe it is.
He's like, yeah, I'm kind of a badass.
I think you're talking to the wrong crowd to know if 4 is good or not.
That's fine.
So
I'll take it. I'll take it.
we'll later have on some other developers, and maybe we'll like circle back this question, say, so is 4 good? Or they're gonna be like, no, it's horrible. That person's a beginner. What do you think, like, as you've been building this app, and for a little backstory, we've remained friends since we met in Montenegro, and it was very cool because we also both were traveling in Montenegro after we met. We both went back to the Kotor Budva area, which is just such a gorgeous place in Montenegro. And it was really cool because I got to see the beginning of you building your app and where it's come to today. But what has been one of the greatest challenges you've had to overcome as not only a founder of this app, as a solopreneur, as someone who is pursuing this project with like your own initiative? And I think as time has come on, some other individuals have started to play a part in the development and the growth of the app, but to keep going and say, yes, this is worth my time, and I'm going to keep, coding your little fingers away.
Speaking 4 languages.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I've overcome whilst
Yeah,
doing
that
this
thing that's like
project.
the roadblock. I feel like a lot of people, when they start building a business, especially as solopreneurs, the imposter syndrome kind of feeling. So what Shandy and I's kind of theme, we feel like for the first few episodes, has been big ball energy. So the thing that's like you're overcoming, you're going into it with like, I am going to do this. I'm going to make it. It's going to be awesome. What's the
Yeah.
thing that you've had to overcome to just continue building this? Because no one's telling you to build it. So
Okay.
why have you continued to do it?
I think I picked something that I was interested in, and it's fun, and every day is very different what I'm working on. Because I'm literally just doing it solo, so it can go from marketing to just 3D modeling to coding. So it's exciting. I picked a big enough project which keeps being exciting, maybe. Um, yeah, and I think I see the end road here as well. Maybe it has been quite hard to, let's say, convince people or to explain what the business is, especially when I'm dealing with older people who are running tour companies. So they don't understand what AR is, and they go VR, and I go, no, it's not VR, it's AR. So like stuff like that has been quite hard, but I think I see the end goal when we all have like AR glasses, which will become a thing maybe in the next 8 years or 10. Then it will be, I would have already built a company that already has a lot of assets, has done it for many years. And then it's just a plug and pay. I just switch it to the AR glasses, and you go on holiday. And I already have an asset of all these locations: Rome, Pompeii, Athens, and you get to see what they used to look like. So I think
That is
that's
so
what
cool.
keeps driving me.
Isn't Snapchat building AR glasses? Am I right in the sense of
Yeah,
that?
I think they
They're
did
trying
already.
to.
Or they're trying. Okay, yeah. Probably, yeah. Everyone's doing them, yeah.
That is so cool. Where do you see Vividwalks going? Like, what is the future plan for it? I know you kind of just said
Yeah.
with the glasses, but is there anything else that you see, let's say like 10, 15 years from now where it could go?
So I think my main goal here in Vivid Walks is to do like maybe like my goal is to make Netflix style documentaries for walking tours. So
Whoa.
it's going to be it's more of an immersive experience, animations, and also just a story. Like for instance, walking with an emperor like Marcus Aurelius through, the Roman Forum or things like that, and get a captivating story. And I mean, even getting like for instance directors, right, actually planning, scripting, and creating an experience that people enjoy more than even maybe getting a tour guide. So that's the long term goal, I think, what I'm looking
Whoa.
for.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Sign
Yeah.
me up.
Yeah. Big
That's cool.
goals.
And for present day, what
Yeah.
so yeah, Vividwalks is the name of your app. And present day,
Yes.
how could someone use it right now, and how can they add it to their experience when visiting Rome to enhance what they're learning about?
Sure. So at the moment, you can just download the app on iPhone, Android, and you can experience what's it used to look like the Colosseum 2000 years ago and the Roman Forum. You can pair it with a tour guide. So you maybe already booked your tour for Rome and you're going to see your tour guide and he's going to take you through the Colosseum. But you also want to see, okay, what did it used to look like? So that's why you can pair it with the app as well. Or some people like just self guided tours where they don't actually want to have a tour guide. They want to manage their own pace and do a go. Yeah, basically that. So you can download the app, get the visuals. This week, I'm trying to publish the audio guide. So I've worked on the audio guide
Cool.
as well
Wow.
with some scripting and all, and like somewhat storytelling as well. So that should
Wow.
be published soon as well. So yeah, either
Yeah,
way.
and to kind of break it down, if correct me if I'm wrong, what for those of us who are not so techy and aren't familiar with this world, what you do with the app is you hold up your phone to the actual Colosseum or place
Yes. Yeah.
where people are saying this like Roman battle happened. You lift up your phone and it gives you a
Cool.
visual and an is it an animation technically or
At the moment, it's just a visual. So it would show you like the structure of the Colosseum, the arena floor. For instance, when you buy a ticket for the Colosseum, you also get the Roman Forum as well. But when you go into the Roman Forum, it's not as exciting because it just ends up being a field of some rocks, right? So you're not actually seeing much. But with app, you actually get to see a lot of like how grand these structures were and the size of them. So
Is it based on your location then? So like it knows where
yes.
your phone is and then you can hold it up and it shows that specific
Exactly.
spot where
Yeah.
you're standing.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah. So it only works in Rome. I have had some requests from some users as well that because I think like someone emailed me saying um, they experienced it in Rome, but they wanted to see it as well whilst they were back home in America. But I think it's that experience where it's like you get to see something and you want to share it with people as well when you get back home. So I need
Definitely.
to implement something like that as well down the line.
I think you do, but also there's something so special about the whole point is being in Rome. So I think there is so much information. Of course, you're not the first person to speak about the Colosseum or the Roman Forum. So I think that idea of like you wanting to bring it back, the whole idea is being in a more immersive experience there, feeling it, seeing it, hearing about it. So I would maybe argue with them, but of course, if that's what the users want, I'm sure
Yeah.
you'll
Yeah. Yeah.
figure something out. But I would encourage
Hmm.
their friends to go there and to feel it
Yeah.
themselves because
Hmm.
I think that's what we all love about travel is like actually being in the place and feeling the atmosphere and seeing the stones because otherwise it's just this something on your screen and you don't get that actual immersive experience. But
Yeah. 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 It's a
maybe I'm
fair
starting a
point.
little
Yeah. It's a
fight
fair
here.
point. Yeah.
Little debate.
um you said so Netflix documentary, very cool, is a big idea for
Yeah.
you. But in what's the kind of like medium term goal, or maybe in the next year, how do you see it growing? Is it about building a team? I think some people think when you start a business that like instantly you have to start building a team, which of course you have to be able to afford them. So what are kind of those intermediate steps towards this like grand goal that you see happening first or you feel like is next in your business?
Yeah. So like throughout I've just done it on my own, and it's quite difficult, especially doing like tech and business. They're like opposite ends of what needs to be done in a business. So and it's very intense. When you're doing the tech work, you kind of have to just focus on that, and like always just drop the business and just do the tech, or I drop the tech and do the business. But I managed to find a potential co-founder. Maybe I've met him in Serbia, Belgrade. So I'm just in talks with him to get him on board to do the business side of things, and then that just relieves me from all the business stuff. I can just focus on tech and other like maybe even marketing and stuff like that as well. I can focus on. But yeah, so
Like the tech side more than
yeah,
the
yeah,
marketing and
very
everything.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, the tech side and the like, even just the design. So even like 3D design, I will still need someone a professional, but even that's fun as well for me. The business side is not something of like is natural to me. I can learn it, it's fine, but it's not natural to me. Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Very cool. And
That's so
what
cool.
as you've like entered new destinations, we're kind of mixing, like
Hmm.
our whole podcast is about business and travel. So as you've
Right.
gone to different destinations while building this app and business, how has your kind of workflow changed, or how much you're pursuing on the app? I've got some inside scoop that you've been in Rome while building the app. So how does your workflow change when you're maybe in Italy, obviously building an app about something in Italy, versus being in Barcelona and Spain, for example, right now?
Um, I, the reason why I was in Italy was to test the app as I was building it. But in terms of what I'm doing right now with the coding, it's not actually to test. I don't need to test the app. It still works as it did before. So it's just adding features. So it's pretty much the same, like similar. It's just most of the time I spent just coding, and then the odd time I'd go to the Roman Forum Coliseum to test it out. So it's pretty much the same thing. And I might also go next month for maybe just a day, just to test something out. And I might not even stay one night. I might just go there and come back in the evening.
Wow. Okay.
That's something that my Canadian brain cannot comprehend. That you can just fly
Yeah.
to a different country,
Right. Okay.
stay there
Yeah.
for one day, and then fly back is just
On the same
mind-boggling.
day. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not even gonna stay at night. He's just
I know.
like where Shandy's from originally in Canada and where I'm from, like that's the day trip, and that's a
Yeah.
2.5 hour drive. So for
All
us,
right.
there's
Yeah.
no
Wild.
hopping to. I guess we can, like where we're from, we could go down to the U.S. The closest state is Montana, so you could drive down to Montana for a day. But personally, I have no interest in that right now. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Fair.
Yeah.
not gonna
I've
go.
never done it
And
before anyway, so I'll see.
well,
Wow.
you can let us know afterwards what
Yeah.
if it was if staying one night is worth it. Because it's interesting too. If you stay one night, then you're bringing more. You bring like an overnight bag with you. Do you check in, or do you just carry your bag with you? So it does add a logistic a little bit of how you're spending your time while you're there versus just going and yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, but
checking out
imagine
the.
just going on a flight and just not carrying anything.
I
Amazing,
can't.
huh?
There's some people
No
that don't take anything. Like they just have their phone and maybe a phone charger
Oh,
and
it
that's it.
sounds incredible, liberating, really. I love
anxiety
it.
Not your 5
inducing.
phones.
Not my 5 phones. No, to be fair, I
Wait,
probably still have to take them with me. I probably still would.
that is the most anxiety inducing feeling for me though, because I need to have snacks, water. Like I still have to have everything because it's just, yeah. I'm like Mary
Yeah.
Poppins in my bag. But maybe this is great. Thanks for bringing up the 5 phones again, Shandy. Can you
I
explain
still
to
want to
us
know.
why, now that we understand the app a little bit and you're using your phone to actually activate the app and experience, why 5 phones?
uh, so I have my own personal phone that I use, iPhone 12 Pro, and then I have an iPhone 10. Just because I need to have an older phone to test. Okay, if I have an older phone, does the application still work? The AR experience. And then I also have an Android that's also done. And then I have another Android, the thing with Android, it's a bit of an issue because there's so many Android phones with so many capabilities. With the iPhones, it's quite standard. So I need to have like multiple Android phones to test. Okay, well, does it work in this graphics level, on a high one, on a low one, what about an old Android phone as well? So that's how I just have to carry all this stuff with me,
So
basically.
did you buy the phone specifically for this or did you get them secondhand?
Uh, One, I asked my friend who had an issue with his phone, like the SIM doesn't work on it, so great, so you can't use it, so that's perfect. And then another one, I just bought it. but I bought it off like eBay, I think, so it's pretty cheap, secondhand. Yeah,
So you're using the 5 phones to test the app to make sure that no matter what kind of travel or whatever phone they
yeah,
have, the app should work and make sure all the bugs are fixed in them.
yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
when I go and buy these things, I go to a shop and I was like, "Do you have any like cracked phones?" And they go like, "You want a
Why?
cracked phone?" I'm like, I don't actually need the phone. I need it for like 5 minutes. That's all I need it for at the time.
You should just rent it. Just say, here's 20 euros. Can I rent it and bring it back?
Yeah. Did you guys
Yeah,
ever go to like when you're traveling around, they sometimes have these little markets on the streets and stuff. And then there's
yeah.
sometimes those guys that send or that sell those like really cheap phones and everything. And I always walk past and I think, who would buy those? But Lasheen
Lasheen.
would.
Yeah, I would. I'll probably
Next
take
time
like
you're
3 or
walking,
4. Yeah,
Shandy, you have to pin drop where the market is. Lasheen's going to come and get another 5. Because also, if I'm correct, when you use the app, someone needs to have an internet connection. So they would need to either have an eSIM or a physical SIM in their phone. So how does that work? So you have SIMs in each of the phone, or you're just switching them?
uh, no hotspot. I just use a hotspot. Yeah, from my
So you
phone.
could, that's good to know though. So a partner, like if one partner had an eSIM, they could hotspot, what was that?
Hotspot.
Hotspot their partner.
Yeah, so it does require internet, but at the same time, now with the audio guide, it doesn't require internet. So
Cool.
yeah, you can just have it offline. You can still get a good experience from the audio guide. I think it's also one of the best like audio guides in well, I mean, one of the top, I'd say, because I've tried a few and some of them, the applications don't work. And then some of them are just quite boring. But like I add sound effects and I add music in the background. It's not just someone speaking. Netflix style documentaries for walking tours.
That is so
Wow.
cool. That is so cool.
Lasheen is like so good about speaking confidently about his work. Like I feel like I've always admired the way that you're just like, it is one of the best audio guides. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, is it? I'm convinced.
Honestly, I'm
Shani and
sold on it.
Shani and I have talked about this a lot in our like personal, like before we started the podcast about just like, no, it is good. Like, don't worry, girl, it's fine. Like people will like it. Shane's like, it is the best. So yeah.
No debate. It's the best.
I wonder where, like, maybe we can dive into where that confidence comes from and where you feel like, and in just explaining, maybe it is in this kind of pitching your idea to people and stuff, where that confidence comes from of like not having any doubt that your audio guide, like you haven't even launched it yet and you have no doubt that it's probably the best. Like, that's amazing. But where's this confidence coming from as like a founder who it's not even launched yet?
I don't know. I don't know. I've never really.
He's just blessed with it.
I've never thought about it. But like I'm confident in some things and not confident in others. So I don't. I think, but that's also come with. I'm not. Maybe I'm a perfectionist, but I don't like to think I am. I don't think I am either. But in my work or just in a school, I'd always do like above and beyond what I needed to do. So with my work, like for instance, in my first job in my career, I'd always just make these like nice applications or nice reports for people. And then they would come back, like the manager or someone I gave the report to, and was like, "Oh, that's amazing!" And that feeling of like someone enjoying what I've created always was like something like that feedback. I always loved that, so I always make sure the work was really good because I wanted the feedback, but I wanted to put something out there that was really good. Yeah,
You like
always. I
words of
think.
affirmation.
Do I? I don't know. I have no idea.
You're
I
making you
don't know.
think too deeply now.
I can't just pick one. I gotta have them all.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Jeez. Maybe in the workplace you like words of you like words of
There you go.
Maybe.
you like
Yeah.
feedback.
Maybe. Yeah.
You like the verbalization of feedback and
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
And okay, so on our podcast, we also talk a lot about like full transparency. So the idea behind the podcast for Anna and I is just to kind of, let's say, we take our businesses and we're showing all of the failures and everything like that, but also a little bit of the finance aspect of things. So, and I know obviously generally there's a misconception that funds just keep coming in to fund, let's say, like our side projects or things like that. So if you're comfortable sharing it, what would you say is sustaining your lifestyle and sustaining the app being created?
At the moment, it's my job. So I work as a contractor in the UK, but I do that 3.5 days. So that pays the bills, and that also gives me money to invest into the company as well. But now the app does make money to kind of like break even ish around about.
Nice.
So it's
That's
fine
amazing.
there. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So that's good. But yeah, at the
You're so
moment it's
chill
just
about it. You've always been
I
so
think that's
chill
such a
about it.
big
I think it's
feat.
amazing.
Yeah.
You should be so
yeah.
hyped about that.
No, but like I don't know. For me, it's like I have like big dreams and stuff like that. So it's getting there. It's nice. It's a nice milestone, and I think with the business co-founder as well, when I add them, like it's just going to be better as well in terms of like closing deals with tour companies. So yeah, it's good at the moment. It's good. Yeah.
It's nice to hear that you're working a full-time job, because I think some people really talk about their business and they, they present themselves as that's what they're doing all the time, but it's kind of refreshing to hear that you do have some partish, like 3.5 days, which is such a weird time to me. But anyway, 3.5 days a week is what puts food on your table, keeps a roof over your head, books the flights, helps you
Yeah.
invest in the business itself. So yeah, it's definitely it's a choice to be putting this money towards building something versus just towards yourself. But it's nice to hear that like sometimes you have to work two jobs to make things happen, or to, as you kind of transition into one sustaining itself.
Yeah. And I was just curious, so with the app, are you more towards selling towards tour guides, or is it more, let's say, solo travelers that are going off on their own?
So at the moment, the where I get the money from is from people just going in the app store and downloading it and buying the experience. But in terms of actually making significant money to my like the business, I need to partner up with like tour companies.
Right.
So yeah, I have a list of a bunch. Some of them have approached me as well. So that's good as well. So it's just making sure that I kind of land these deals and keep up these customer relations and stuff like that. So yeah. So at the moment, there's both basically
That's so cool that you've
happening.
already had somebody come to you about it as well. Like, that's
Yeah, yeah,
another
yeah.
such a huge thing.
Yeah, I told Anna about this thing actually. This was really strange that happened. Um, I went to Montenegro for like a co-living launch, and I got picked up by the CEO of the co-living because he was at the airport because he was just in the area and he was like, "Oh, I'll pick like a few people up." So he picked us up. But I was super tired. I went. I think I just napped 2 hours before my flight, and that was it. And it was like morning time, so I barely slept for like 36 hours. And he's talking about how he kind of does. He used to be in the AR and VR space, and I make a mental note to just talk to him
Coffee
later about
chat.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like it's something I could have. And then we go to the hotel, which is the co-living, and I'm eating breakfast, and he just comes around and asks a few people, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" Blah blah blah. And then he asked me, and I was like, "Oh, I just do this AR experience in Rome for the Colosseum." And he looks at me and he's like, "I know you." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "I know you." He's like, "What is it? Like walks of something?" I'm like,
What?
Vividwalks. And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I've been on your website. I know you." It's like
What?
I'm in Montenegro. I'm in a mountain in Montenegro. There's no reason for any of this to be happening.
Wow.
Um, and then he's like, and I was like, how did you hear about it? And he's like, "Oh, I used to work for the Ministry of Tourism for Turkey, and we came across your thing, and we wanted to do something similar in Turkey." Yeah,
That
crazy,
is
small world, huh?
insane.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? It's
Wow.
incredible.
I also just love that it was someone in person. Like, I think that's something
Yeah.
that, as much as digital nomads, we love to travel, we love to meet people, but you
Yeah.
don't get that small world kind of effect as if you lived in London, where you're like, oh, I know someone who works with you, who works with you, who works with you kind of feeling. Like, you don't
Yeah.
know this guy at all. You have
No, at
no
all.
prior connection to him. And he's like, I know you. And you're like, sometimes you're like, what?
That's
It's a
wild.
bit
There's
nervy.
there's your business words of affirmation again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and it felt good, so maybe I do have it. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Then you're like, that's why the audio guide's the best. This guy
Yeah.
said he already knows me. Oh, it's so good. I think we're going to
Yeah.
jump a little bit. It's funny you mentioned Montenegro, which you have gone back to. That would have been technically your third time going back to Montenegro, I think. If we had the conference,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time
yeah.
we were
It would
in
be.
Budvakotar area at the same time. And then, so what kind of draws you thinking you have this full-time job, so obviously you need a really good internet connection and consistency there. You want to develop the app, but you also want to meet people and tour guides. So what kind of makes you choose a destination of where you're going to next? And then obviously there's like personal life, Lasheen. Like, what are some of the things that you like to do? You like to spend your personal time when you're not developing and coding. What are you doing?
So yeah, how I pick a place. I think uh, before I pick a place, before it used to be gym. So I'm like, okay, I can gym there, and then also it's got enough people there that I can do stuff around, right? And then after, and maybe a mosque as well. So it'd be mainly those two things I'd pick. But for Montenegro, when I picked there, wanted to do like jujitsu, and that town had jujitsu because that's the problem with being in the Balkans. It's hard to meet people unless you do some kind of activity with them, like group team activity with the locals. Because but the problem is, even if you meet with the locals, unless their English is very good, then you can actually make a connection. So I was like, okay, I'll do jujitsu, and I actually met a good friend from there, so that was good. Um, but yeah, so that's how I picked Montenegro, and then I went like I had no plan to. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was going to go to Morocco for this trip, this like trip that I started. I was going to go to Morocco, and then Anna sent this conference thing in co-living launch in Montenegro, and I was like, it's a no-brainer because it's like my favorite country. So I went there, no plan, and then I just met these bunch of people, and I was like, oh, they're really cool people. They all came from Barcelona, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go move to Barcelona. And I kept extending even I had no plan. Like I was living basically, yeah, no plan. Like basically next day after next day. So I just kept extending my days in the hotel. And then I was
You
like,
had no
okay, cool. I'm gonna
return
go to
ticket or
yeah,
like
no
next
return
ticket.
tickets. Yeah, or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I just booked it to Belgrade and stayed there because I picked Belgrade because I like the Balkans and it's a metropolis. So it's like there's a high population there. They speak English. I've been there once before, but I wanted to fully stay there for like at least 2 weeks. So I stayed there for 2 weeks and it was great because I actually met a load of people. I met potentially my co founder from there. And yeah, people are just so nice. Yeah, so I think in terms of travel, normally I would pick places instead of people, but now I'm trying to pick people instead of places. So it's somewhere where I can meet
Ah,
people and have a
That's so
connection
cool.
with them and yeah, and build a relationship. Yeah, that kind of thing.
okay, I got excited to interrupt because that's classic me that I do it all the time. But also, how do you meet people? Like you're like, I met a bunch of people. What's happening? What's the like situation of the room? Are you going up to people? People are going up to you. Like, what's that starting place? Because I think so many solo travelers
Yeah.
people are traveling because they want to travel and there's no friend or there's not the right time. People don't have the right money. So they go on their own. And then we see on social media that, oh, you can make friends so easily and it's so great and la di da. But it can be difficult and there can be that I think for myself, it's a confidence moment of like being in a mental state to like want to put myself out there and that tiny bit of vulnerability to like make that first move if someone's not approaching me. I do think it's different as a female solo traveler because if you have a male approaching you, it can be like, don't talk to me, like, don't come near me. If they don't approach with the right kind of energy as well, that's my experience. So, what's your like secret sauce to meeting people or kind of just getting to know folks, especially locals?
Yeah, so I think it's a kind of game you have to play, right? So as soon as you get to a new destination, you're in like holiday phase, right? Honeymoon phase. Like your brain, like you're just excited. And the thing is, you have to like make sure that within that period, you are like like you are talking to people and you carry that on. Because if you go to a new place and you don't talk to anyone within the first week, you are that person for the rest of the time you're there. So you kind of have to that first week is super important. You have to make sure you meet people and then you carry on that like excited spirit throughout your journey. So that's what I would try and do. And then also as well, now like for instance, now that I'm in Barcelona, I haven't met like people that much because I'm working from home. And I work from home because also my housemate works from home and it's kind of chill and it's nice. But in Belgrade, I met loads of people, and it's because I was going to. It's called Cafeteria. It's basically a Starbucks. It's like a 5-story Starbucks, and they had like a massive
It used to be
table.
Yeah, and it used to be, there's like a deep history to it, but it's a
Really?
huge, I think
Yeah,
it's
it's
3
massive. Yeah.
stories, but it's
No,
huge.
I think
3
the
or
I
4.
think it, no, there's a crash upstairs as well. So I think it's
Oh,
5.
geez.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
No, no, because
It's
it's
big.
downstairs. There's the barber as well. So yeah, it's 5,
Oh,
including the
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
You say a barber
um,
as well, so you can get your hair done while you're
yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah.
it's a big bulking
Drop the
thing
kids
to
off at
have.
the top. Get your hair
That's
done.
crazy.
Have a
Wait, what did
coffee
you call the
after.
top?
Crash.
Creche. What's that?
Yeah, crash. It's where you dump your kids when you don't
A
want them.
daycare?
Yeah.
Is
I
that a
think it's a
British word?
French word. No, I think crash
Oh,
sounds French. I think it's French.
anyway.
Yeah,
I heard about learn something new.
yeah.
Shani, I don't know if you knew that word. I thought you
Nope.
were talking, I thought it was like a terrace or something. Creche. Okay. Anyway, but how are you meeting? Like, are you approaching people and like, or you're just kind of someone sitting next to you and you're like, nice burger? I don't know. I
Looks
had a burger
delicious. Can
at
I have a bite?
I had a burger at cafeteria, so that's what's in my head when I think about that place.
Yeah, so with the cafeteria was great because there was a massive table, and like maybe I talk to people generally anyway. But then as I was there, like after 2, I was like, why is no one like talking? But then after like maybe 5 days, like I had like 3 friends at the table who'd come there constantly, right? So I don't know, how did I? Oh, it's just like the charger. Like someone's like, oh, you help them with the charger, or like just, oh, can I play? Oh, can you watch my laptop? And then you just make a joke like, oh, in the UK, like I'd never do this, or like basically my main thing there was like if someone left without their laptop, because that's where they do it. Like no one steals stuff in the Balkans generally. So then I was like weirded out. So I just talked to them. I was like, is it fine to leave your laptop here? And they go, oh, and then they get in the whole conversation and you're like talking about how in UK you can't do that. And then that's it. You've done the first interaction and then they'll be there the next day. And it's just doing that kind of stuff.
I think I have a
Being
future digital
curious,
product for
basically.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
It's non-romantic pickup lines. So like you said, oh, you just talk about the charger. So it's like ways, I think like solo traveling pickup lines, like things you can say to
Yeah.
someone that are just like break that ice to potentially make conversation with someone. So it's like, as you said, they left their laptop and then you're like, oh, is it safe to leave your laptop here? Like, if we think of it as a pickup line, if you think of it in a romantic sense, you would say, like, oh, what are you drinking? Or like, most of the time it goes to a physical attribute. But if you do something as like, oh, is it safe to leave your laptop here? That's an
Yeah.
opener to potentially have a conversation. It might not work, as any pickup line might not. But anyway, that's a future idea for you.
But I think it's probably just a curiosity, right? And I think that's what it comes down to. You have to be curious enough to ask these questions, and you don't think like, okay, I could just search stuff, right? And but also you kind of have to make sure that you don't always search stuff, and you can just ask someone around you because you're curious enough. And it's like just go back to the childhood spirit, right? Think about like a girl who's like, I don't know, like 3, 4 years old. Like naturally, she's just gonna be curious and ask like, oh, why? Is it safe to leave your laptop there? That's the kind of childish a child will ask that question, right? Because she's
Yeah,
normally seen the world that people don't leave their stuff around alone, right?
I like
So
that you feminized her.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
it seemed more cute, basically.
Oh.
Because the boy would be too busy like running around falling
Yeah,
to
Picking his nose.
the girl's like, how am I going to survive in this world? And she's like, what, how can I leave my laptop?
yeah.
I think we touched on it a bit. It's definitely like a confidence thing. I love the sense that you said curiosity of I think that's like a genuine piece. And also just, I think for me, I've always tried to go in with the trust the neighbor piece. And I found myself being back in North America, and maybe you can speak if it's the same in the UK, that people don't really trust that their neighbor, being like someone you actually know, or the person sitting at the table next to you, has a genuine interest to get to know you, or that they will actually watch your laptop. So I try to be like, if I leave my door unlocked, I am trusting that someone else can leave their door unlocked because I won't enter their house. And I mean, I apply this in like hostel situations, but just this kind of thing. Like, if they're going to leave their laptop, you leave their laptop. And then there's just like instant trust between two people that wasn't there before, that maybe like also helps to build that kind of connection. So I think it's about trusting the people around you and being curious to get to know them and who they are.
Hmm. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Cool. Okay, we have one final question. And your childhood, if you want to explain it to us a little bit, you were splitting time between two places, and if you want to share a bit about that. But we also were wondering what's one of the biggest misconceptions about these destinations that you could enlighten us with. Maybe you can share a little bit first about your childhood, and I mean, that's like, first of all, you were an international kid, so to begin with, that sparked some travel for sure.
Yeah, so I think yeah, so I was born in the UK, and then we moved to Ghana and we stayed there 8 years, but it was kind of on and off. So there is a story about me saying to my mom and dad, like I think when we landed in, I don't know if it was Ghana or the UK, and I said I just I wanted to go. I said I want to go home to my mom and dad, and then they're like, "Where's home?" And then I pointed to the sky, and I was like, "That's home." That's so like
Oh, that's
Wow.
cute. Come
yeah, so
on.
yeah, I always kind of saw myself living abroad, and then also as well um yeah, just the fact that I experienced different cultures at a young age as well. I think it was great, like growing up in a third world country. I mean, my dad didn't have like a he was doing well, but he was a minicab driver in the UK, which at that time it was you did get quite a good wage, a lot of money. But
Before
he used to
Uber,
yeah,
before
this
the
was
Uber
like
days.
when was
Yeah.
this? Yeah, this was early 2000s. So he was sending money across to us in the Ghana, and he'd come and stay 3 months on, 3 months off.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, we had a good life. We were kind of like middle class, would say, because he was sending pounds. You convert it, it's great. It's kind of the same way we live now. Like, I mean, for me, it's the same because when I convert pounds to euros, it's better. Or even when we all visited Bosnia. So yeah, it's a nice life and it's chill. The sun doesn't go down at 4 p.m. It's kind of safer as well. So I see myself doing something similar for my future. But yeah, and in terms of childhood, I think yeah, it was cool. Although now it's changed. Africa has changed. It's very expensive. I went there. I mean, like, it's overwhelmingly expensive. Like, if I search on Airbnb, I'm gonna find a place that's the same, probably more expensive than I'm paying right now in
Wow.
Barcelona for a one bed. It's
Wow.
just like a lot of Africans kind of moved out of Africa. They went to America, they went to Germany, they went to the UK. They have good salaries. They come back to Africa. They drive the price up. So yeah, it's kind of changed a lot, Africa. Of course, there's still corruption, there's still issues there. I don't call it home, even though I've lived there total maybe 8 to 9 years, but I've always been in the UK for like my formative years, so I think I'm more English there. um yeah, I don't know what other question you had. Was that
No,
enough?
that's great.
I
It's
don't
very
know.
That's
interesting
it.
that you just said the price of living went up, because I was curious if it was tourists, but it kind of sounds like it's locals returning, but for short periods of time that are driving the price up and making that experience. Would you suggest for people to explore Ghana in general? Like, is there a curiosity there, you think, for people to go and see it?
So Ghana is more like a party place these days. So a lot of people
Hmm.
go there because there's like crazy parties and
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't really, I don't think it matters these days if you're black or white. Like, you, actually, my mom went there 2 weeks ago, and she's like, there's loads of like Lebanese, loads of like Europeans there now, because it's like it's kind of becoming like a play in the sense of like financial. You can set up businesses over there. It's a nice life. So yeah, it's safe as well these days. So it's okay. But I think for just trips in general, yeah, that's a good place. Kenya is also good for a safari trip. I went there. That's also nice. And yeah, those are only two countries, African countries I've been to actually. Africa and sorry, Ghana and Kenya.
Okay, very cool. And what about the UK or the London area? What, so many people go there. Some people go short term, some people go long term, some people do a classic like 2-3 day trip. What's the biggest thing people should know when visiting London in the area? What's your like hidden secret?
Hidden secret of London. Uh, I don't know, because you're gonna do all the touristic stuff. It's of course it's expensive, but there's a lot to see. I mean, I haven't even done London. I used to live there for a period of time. It's huge. It's massive. And even if like I lived there, I didn't go to, let's say I went to Greenwich once. It's like a big park. It's quite famous. People now live there. But there's so many places that have a lot of different, like even cultures and different vibes. So yeah, I don't think going once is enough, to be honest, for London. Some places, yes, you can go once and it's good enough. I think London is just, you can plan two different, very different trips if you decide to go there more than once. Yeah.
Cool. Very
So
good.
cool.
Is there anything else you'd like to share? Shandy, any last minute questions you want to dive into, Lasheen? We've covered so much.
A lot. I just want to thank you for sharing so much about also your business, but also about your personal life and with traveling and everything. And I think I can speak for Anna and both myself when I say this, is that this is exactly what we were looking for the podcast. Like this type of, getting down and dirty into what is the life of down and dirty. What is the life of a digital nomad? And it doesn't look the same for everybody. And I think that's so cool. And thank you again for sharing that. And now we know where to go for a really nice virtual or like a nice, tour for Rome and everything. And I'm actually going in October. So I think I will 100% be
Oh, there we
downloading your
go.
app. So
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you in advance.
She can test it for you if you need a tester.
There you go. I only have
yeah.
one phone. So
Does your partner have a different one though?
no, we both have iPhones. So
That's good anyway.
yeah.
That's fine.
No
You got a
Android
tester
lovers
guinea
here.
pig. Where can people find you, Lasheen, if they want to connect with you? What's the best way to kind of connect, whether they want to connect on a personal way? I'm gonna like do a self plug that you're in my travel friend community, so that's a great way to connect with Lasheen and other travelers. And I know he's really great about sharing things about Bosnia and Herzegovina, the UK, Serbia. You've been very active in that group as well. But if someone wants to connect with you and Vividwalks, how can they find Vividwalks?
Vividwalks, I guess the website, yeah, just go to the website, vividwalks.com. And I think you can contact us. It goes to an email to me. And then also as well, personal level, just my Instagram. I just opened, I mean, I don't normally use Instagram. I only have it for travel, for meeting people, because it's hard to keep up with people. So, that's Lasheen with two E's. I might delete it. Who knows? But it's the app right now. So
I think if you're wanting to connect with Lasheen personally or professionally, that email is probably the best place. Having been friends with him for a while, that Instagram could go tomorrow and a new one could pop up the next month. So awesome. And we just want to say thank you again so much for being here. We are Where She Builds podcast, and you can find us on Spotify and YouTube and also on Instagram at Where She Builds. I'm Anna at Your Travel Friend Anna, and we are joined by Coach Shandy, which is Coach Shandy on Instagram. So thank you so much, Lasheen, for your time, and we'll see you in the next one.
No worries. Okay, take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.